Hi, Steve Arterburn here, and before the program starts, I wanted to tell you about a special $400,000 matching gift campaign that's going on right now. All donations through the end of May will be doubled until the $400,000 match is met. If you've ever considered donating to New Life, I'm just asking you to do it today. The impact of this gift is going to be doubled. There's no better time than now. And if you're able to give $100 or more, I'm going to be happy to send you a copy of the just released, it is absolutely incredible, Every Woman's Bible. There are 3 easy ways to give to this match. You can give online at newlife.com/donate, or you can text the word match to 28950, or just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Thank you for making a difference in the lives of others. Today, you can make a double difference. Now let's get on with the program today.
Welcome to New Life Live with Stephen Arterburn. For 35 years, New Life has been transforming lives one at a time thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's today's host, Becky Brown.
Well, hello, everyone. I am so grateful that you joined us today. We are going to take calls for 2 hours, 1-800-229-3000. And I am joined today by Dr. Jill Hubbard, who's psychologist, author, longtime host here, has helped so many people over the years, and a good friend, as well as Dr. Jim Burns, who is also an author, has led a ministry to families and marriages homeward forever and ever. I mean, maybe Jim, I don't know.
Yeah.
Also, Jim's a very well-regarded speaker, and we're going to hear from you today, Jim. What's on your mind?
Well, I am actually, first of all, when you said Jill, I heard she just killed it on this cruise that New Life had. I was talking with Steve. So
we had so much fun.
I think she's going to take over the speaking part.
Well, I don't know about that.
Well, here's the phrase, the power of being there. Jesus actually modeled this, and I was just reading this. I happened to be reading my devotions the other day, and Jesus was with his disciples, with some parents and children, which was actually really, really unique and radical because 2,000 years ago, rabbis didn't hang out with children or actually even women. Mm. And Jesus said, "Let the little children come to me." And when he said that, he actually his presence with those children, that was a huge statement. It wasn't just what he said. It was an incredible statement, what he said in Scripture, in Mark 10, and also even in Mark 9. But he said, "Let the little children come to me, and don't hinder them, for the kingdom of God belongs to such as these." But the point that I want to say is Jesus modeled the power of being there. And I just want to remind our listeners that, your presence matters. If there's chaos in your home and there's tough stuff happening, that sometimes you just got to remember that children regard your very presence as a sign of caring and connectedness. And because they feel that way, they're not expecting you to be perfect. What they want is authentic people who are willing to show them they love them. I've got a phrase in my office that says, every child needs at least one adult who is irrationally positive about them. Mm-hmm. And, you obviously have to do discipline. And, we have callers all the time who have kids who are, struggling with fill in the blank, a lot of tough stuff. At the same time, there's a tension, but a joy to show unconditional love, and as Jesus does, and at the same time care for those who are hurting and literally help them, go on their way. So that's just my reminder for the day.
I love
Power
that.
Of being there.
I love that. And Jim, I think all of us need someone in our life, no matter what our age is, that is irrationally positive about us. Yeah. I mean, that their face lights up when they see us. I love that the power of being there. And we're here for you. We'll take your calls today for 2 hours, 1-800-229-3000. Maybe you're struggling with being isolated. Maybe you don't have somebody that's there for you. Or maybe the relationships have gotten a little bit complex, like they do. And you need a word or two about how to be there, how to be present, how to get moving forward. We can help you. We're going to be here right after this break, 1-800-229-3000.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn from New Life Live, and Chris Williams and I are doing the Emotional Freedom Workshop. I don't know of anybody that wouldn't benefit from emotional freedom. We're all bound or stuck or struggling in some area. What are we going to do there, Chris?
Just really help people get clarity around the places where they're stuck in their life. They sort of circle the same mountain of disappointment over and over and over again. You're going to be able to see that mountain clearly and get to a new place of what we call emotional freedom, which is simply I can feel in the world, build a relationship to it, and know what to do with my experiences.
The New Life Emotional Freedom Online Intensive is Saturday, June 1st. Steve Arterburn, Chris Williams, and Dr. Jackie Mack Harris will present information on trauma, depression, codependency, and more. And small group leaders will help you process the information you learn. Register online at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and use the discount code NLL to save $50. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
I'm Steve Arterburn with a New Life Moment. Soon after making a decision to follow Christ, a young Nigerian named Daniel returned to his Muslim village. He was excited about his new faith. The people of his village were not. Furious at him, the women beat him and left him for dead. When he regained consciousness the following day, he decided he must not have been clear in explaining his new faith. So he went back to the village and witnessed again. The women beat him and left him for dead again. This time he remained unconscious for 2 days. When he awoke, he again assumed he hadn't expressed himself well, so he returned a third time. This time the village women broke into tears at his perseverance, and eventually the good news of Christ gained a foothold in that place. I'm Stephen Arterburn. If you're weary in sharing the good news of Jesus with friends, family, or your kids, take heart. And visit newlife.com for support in persevering. Thanks for listening to this New Life Moment.
You know, I always love, Steve's always talked about perseverance. It's one of the 7 steps. It's the final step of the keys to spiritual renewal. And when you think about, there's so many things that we have to persevere, not only in sharing the gospel, but in relationships, in work, in so many things. I mean, life is long and short, and it depends on what you're dealing with, how that feels in the moment. We're so grateful for his insight. We're going to go to the calls. We've been answering calls for about 35 years. I think we know a little bit about something. So let's help some people today. We're going to go to Rod, who's calling us from Indianapolis and watches us on the internet. We're glad you called, Rod. How can we help you today?
Yes, thank you for having me. I recently had a 4-year relationship with a woman, and she had been married previously 3 times, and we dated for 4 years, and she had special needs kids, and I helped out with them tremendously, and she transitioned in from staying at home to working in a career, and that brought a lot of stress to her life, and she bought a house and moved, and suddenly broke things off with me, and she was really under a great deal of stress and talked about the anxiety that she was feeling for all the help I was giving her and some of the ungodly parts of our relationship, and said that we needed time to separate and to work on ourselves and then see if God could bring us together again. And we've spoken once since, but I haven't heard from her in several weeks, and I'm just really struggling with this in my life to move on and to find peace with it and to know what to do from here.
Well, yeah, Rod, that would be stressful to have a relationship with anyone for 4 years, friend or romantic or anything, and then not have some resolution. Jill, how would you direct Rod in this?
Well, Rod, I'm so sorry for your broken heart. Really, it sounds like you poured a lot into this relationship during a difficult transition time for her. And it's hard because now she's gotten on her feet and it seems that she's left you behind. And that never feels good. I think this is an important time for you to reflect on your part. You talked about some of the ungodly parts of the relationship, and all of that can feel really good and comforting, but it doesn't build in long-term trust. And so even if the other person seems willing and is going along with it or even initiates it, I think that when one steps back and looks, okay, what am I really wanting? That becomes a question mark. And can you see the relationship clearly when things cloud it? So there's a lot of things here. I mean, her need and you jumping in as a caretaker, it's wonderful on the one hand, but maybe, sometimes we can be too good and we can provide too much, and it creates a dependency that then later doesn't fit so well for a person. And so relationships need to really be two adults coming in, both having needs, even if one is going through a difficult time.
Jim?
Rod, I think actually you're a most incredible person, the way you sounds like have kind of taken care, of some of those issues that she had lots of needs, and she had kids who had special needs. I think she gave you some good advice, though. I didn't hear her say, we're done forever and ever, even though you haven't heard from her. I heard her say, let's take a break and let's kind of work on ourselves. And I think that's what you do. I think this is the time for you to get some counseling, for you to get in a small group, some great small groups in Indianapolis. I happened to be there yesterday, by the way. I can't believe how warm it was. It's warmer in Indianapolis than it was here in Southern California when I flew in.
Yeah, it's great. It may gray.
But anyway, there's some great groups. There's great churches. Get built up. And then, as Jill said, whatever that ungodly thing, I find sometimes that people will break up and they won't focus as much on whatever was going on with the ungodly, but that's the reason they're breaking up. But maybe she didn't tell you that. So, I think you might need a new start. But even if you don't need a new start with her advice to you was, do all you can to be well. And I just read today, it's funny, it was one of Steve Arterburn's books. I was reading one of his books this morning. I'm really liking Healing as a Choice. And he used a script.
That's the book I was thinking of for Rod, too, Jim.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Well, in it, he told a story of Jesus coming to a man who had been ill for 38 years. And he said, do you want to get well? And maybe what's happening is in this relationship, there's a whisper from God saying, do you want this relationship to get well? And to get well, what that man did is he made an excuse at first. He didn't say yes. But then he eventually said yes, he got well, and it was better. I think that's the answer for you, that you do whatever it takes for you to get well, to get whole, not depending on those things that you called ungodly. And maybe there is a chance for the relationship, but I don't know if there's going to be a chance for the relationship if you continue in that doing the same thing over and over again.
Well,
Rod, go ahead, Jill.
Rod, just to add to that, we tend to, especially when we tend to be caregivers, caretakers, someone, and it's wonderful. And I love that you're a man that wants to lean in and care for. But we can then organize around this person and their needs at the neglect of our own. And it's even hard when people say that. Like, I have hated that in the past when people say, well, you just need to focus on yourself. It's like, what are you talking about? Right? This is my life. And so to really kind of maybe look at, well, okay, what does that even mean? And why is it hard for me to start investing in myself?
Yeah, self-care isn't selfish.
No.
Love your neighbor as you love yourself is what Jesus said. And so to love ourselves means that we take care of our own
emotional needs.
Our emotional needs, our spiritual needs. Exactly.
And we have other people. We have mutuality where there's give and take in relationship. And people can minister to us as well as us to them.
And interesting enough, if you do the work to get well, you know what? Now you're going to be better off if you're back with her or if you're not back with her.
Right.
And so I really challenge you to do that.
And Rod, when we say you're not well, you're in this time of grieving.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
Is that helpful, Rod?
Yes. It's very helpful, and I'm so grateful for your time and advice. Thank you.
Well, we will.
Yes,
We're glad that you called, and we're going to send you a copy of Healing is a Choice, and we'll get you connected with some of those groups that Jim mentioned, and it may even be that you get connected with a counselor too to work through. Because here's the thing, like you just said, Jill, you want to be ready for that relationship, that whether it's this one or another one. Maybe Jim said this. But also, Rod, that you're not suffering in silence, that you are able to say what you need to say, whether it's the end of this relationship or a new one. So we're grateful that you called, and I know that that will be helpful for you. We're going to go back to the calls. We're going to take calls for another hour and a half, 1-800-229-3000. We're going to talk with Randall, who's calling us from Detroit, Michigan, listens on WSNL. Hello, Randall. How can we help you today?
Yes, hello. I have a question. I would like to ask, my friend has dissociative identity disorder. Can she achieve freedom?
Good question. Good question. All right. Well, I'm going to start with Jill because
okay. Okay, sure. Well, that's kind of just a really general question, and it depends on a lot of things. But can she get free of that? Yes, absolutely. It does take a longer-term intensive therapy with someone that she really trusts to work through all the underlying issues and to help with some reintegration to create a solid sense of self instead of the splintered off different feeling states that she has. So there has to be a willingness. Sometimes there's a resistance there because remember, this was a way that the mind and the psyche preserved itself and kept itself, in a sense, from going crazy. So our mind is amazing in the way God has made it to really help us survive. And so she needed to survive from something. And often when we have this diagnosis, it's something pretty terrible. So that's where, a lot of loving support and consistent, a consistent person working with her.
Yeah. Randall, I hurt my knee and I went to my primary doctor and he said, you got to go to a specialist here. Right. He told me what it was and he actually kind of knew, but he didn't know his stuff. With her, she's going to have to go to somebody who specializes in this. And as Jill said, don't miss this, that oftentimes before that freedom that you're hoping for with your friend, there comes pain because they may have to focus on whatever caused her to have this. And it's probably abuse. A lot of times you see it with abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So with that, she's going to have to go back and, it's kind of like the onion peel. Maybe she's done some work, but because it's not working for her, because she's going to have to go back and face that. Don't have her do that with, have her do it with somebody who does this as their specialty.
Sure. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Is that helpful, Randall?
Oh, yes. I'm with you. I just wondered how am I going to do this going further. Thank you. I've got a call from New Life Ministries. Great. Okay.
Randall, here's a question for you though. In this relationship, has she felt like she was never going to get free, and that's where your concern came from, or have you had these discussions? Where did this question originate?
The question originated from my very long, in-depth research on this from A to Z and what's up to date and from all the databases, and her present totally being destroyed by people and males and thieves and also predators, what they call trigger persons, right there under our nose. So she's wondering if this is we've had to go through everything if she has a mental disease or possibly possession. And I said, if Christ is in you, you may be oppressed, but from what I understand, and it's not my field, but you cannot possibly be possessed by anything or anybody if Christ is in you. So that's where I'm at. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Randall, is this your diagnosis, or was she diagnosed by a professional?
Oh, yes. It's definitely my diagnosis.
Yeah.
I haven't really been able to get, but I started out with BPD, then I went to ADHD, and then I said, this has got to be DID.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of neat that you're doing that. Now take it to the level where she needs an assessment. Because again, you're kind of my illustration that I said about going to my physician for my bad knee. You've done amazing work, and I would imagine you're probably right. But now the next move for her is to get her the kind of help of somebody that totally understands, and there's different ways they can go with this, and that's going to be above your pay grade. It's above my pay grade, actually.
Yeah, although we don't have a book that specifically speaks to dissociative identity disorder, I'm going to send you a copy of Changes That Heal, because along with the professional help that she's going to need, there's a bigger part of that healing journey that goes along with it. A lot of times we're focused on that clinical piece, and there's more. It's not one or the other. So I'm so grateful, Randall, that you are her friend. It's awesome to have those people around us when we are struggling, and we do know that there's hope. We're grateful that you called. We're going to take a quick break and go back to the calls. We've got some lines open if you want to call us, 1-800-229-3000. We will be right back. You're listening to New Life Live, where we help all kinds of people with all kinds of things. We're grateful to be here for you. We'll see you in a minute.
My husband was involved with pornography addiction. He was unfaithful. He stepped out on the marriage and ended up having a child.
The Restore Intensive is designed for a woman dealing with a man's sexual addiction issues.
There were strip clubs. My husband is a recovering sex addict.
If you've been affected by betrayal, an emotional or physical affair, or pornography, the Restore Intensive will equip you with support and tools to help you through.
Restore has empowered me and has given me the tools to work through my anger, work through my pain, work through my confusion, and help me realize that I am worthy.
Being here and being surrounded by people who get it has given me my power back.
The Restore Intensive is coming to Dallas, Texas, July 12th through the 14th. Register online at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and use the discount code NLL to save $50.
Thank you, Restore. You have changed my life forever.
1-800-NEWLIFE and the discount code NLL. Daniel Grossman on coaching.
Coaches are really focused on the future and helping people to develop those skills and those strategies to help them move forward in their life. A coach really partners with you to focus on things like personal growth or health goals, spiritual growth, helping you develop in your career or possibly strengthening your relationships or maybe even breaking free from a negative pattern.
If you need a coach for life, your career, relationships, your health and fitness, leadership, and more, call New Life today and ask about the New Life Coaching Network. Our coaches have been screened and certified with the same intensive process we use for our network counselors.
Coaches use different techniques. Some like to use strategic questions and accountability, ultimately empowering you to take those next steps towards your goals.
Take control of your life and take action to achieve your goals. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and talk to us about getting a New Life coach today.
I really believe that everyone can use a coach in their corner.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. We are so glad that you joined us today. And I just want to put a shout out there for our Restore Intensive. It's going to be July 12th through 14 in Dallas, Texas. And, Stacy Sadler-Smith and Laura Manja McDonald, all of the names, are both speakers who have been there and done that and have helped so many women overcome the pain and the trauma that comes with betrayal. And many of you are thinking, it's his problem, I don't need to go. Well, let me just invite you into the care and the healing for your own life. And you can check us out at newlife.com, click on the events, and all the information is there. Or even better, just give us a call and we'll give you all of the details. We've got a free downloadable guide to help you. If you go to newlife.com/restore, you'll see it there. We're going to continue with the calls, 1-800-229-3000. We're going to talk with Dana, who's calling us from Philadelphia, listens on the internet. Hi, Dana. Thanks for calling. How can we help you today?
Hello. My question was, I am the mother of a young man who married for 1 year, and he cheated on his wife. Now he's devastated. He talks to me a little bit about it, but I think he just wants to be alone. Says he doesn't want encouragement. Says he blew it. Says he blew his whole life. His whole life is over. His wife moved out. He has a new apartment. And I want to help him 1,000%. My husband's saying back up. He needs to kind of learn from what has happened. His new apartment doesn't have a television. I want to run and get a big screen. I don't even know what else to say. Just that I'm helping. I want to help. I want to help any way that I can.
Okay. Well,
my question
Jim?
to you is, what is my role here? Should I not be helping? Should I?
Tell me more about what your husband is asking you to do.
So with the television that I want to buy, he said absolutely not. He feels like it would be almost like a reward. Mm-hmm. But he doesn't have a TV in his new place, and I want to get him a TV. Mm-hmm. I know he's sad. I want him to have a TV. He has said to me, I regret what I've done. I've done an awful thing. Mm-hmm. He's in such despair. He doesn't want, he says, I can only go to work. And I only do that because I know I have to. I mean, he's very, very sad. He said he's asked the Lord to forgive him. He blew it. He'll never get her back. But my husband says, I don't think you should. Like, I'm glad that you're calling him. I'm glad that you feel that you need to help, but I don't see this same urgency in my husband. And I want to help financially too, like at least to buy a TV.
Right. I understand. And I appreciate your mother's heart, and your when a son's heart or a daughter's heart is broken, and a mom's heart is broken always, and that's what you're experiencing, and you want to help him. I think our motives are always right. We want to help. The question we have to ask is, are we enabling him toward dependency, say, on you and your husband? And so that's going to be the question. And I don't know the answer. I appreciate that your husband, and you said it right at the end, that your husband says, no, he's calling you, you're talking with him. That's awesome. To buy the TV, for me, it has at least a yellow flag. It doesn't have a red flag for me, but it does have a yellow flag. And the reason it does is because you don't need to come to his rescue for that or give him money. That's enabling dependency, quite possibly. And you're not punishing him. It's not, if the way you said it, your husband may, be saying, no, he has to learn this. Well, he may, but he may not need a big screen TV to, he's feeling bad about himself, and he has a job. He may be able to figure out getting a TV, or, in today's world, a lot of times they don't. Very good job. Yeah. So in today's world, a lot of times they don't use a TV. They're watching quote unquote TV on, their phone or their iPad or, whatever it might be. So the question you got to ask, I think, always in this kind of case, Dana, is your motive's always right. You have a desire to help him, but are you going to enable dependency? And if you do that, that has really little to do with him cheating, and it has a lot to do with the fact that he's now an adult. Because he's an adult, and then the other part I would say is you give tough love. Tough love doesn't mean that you're mean to him, but it just simply means that he does have to pay for some of the consequences. Some of the consequences, he's really lonely sitting there in that apartment, maybe rethinking his life, saying, wow, in the next relationship, or if I can pull it together with my wife now, in this next, whatever the next step is in his life, I'm not going to do that, because that really hurts. And experience is a better teacher, than sometimes, kind of taking care of the wound by, just putting a Band-Aid on it. So again, I'm it'll be interesting to see what Jill has to say. But I'm kind of mixed. I was kind of with you, and then I moved to over being with your husband. So it's really much more that the question in your heart of hearts, and you can maybe get some insight from your husband, is, are you enabling dependency by helping? You surely are not, because you're talking to him. He needs a safe place, and mom happens to be that safe place. One last question, then I'll move on.
God for that.
Yes,
it was never that.
Oh, it's beautiful. Now, is he asking you for a TV, or is that just your? Yeah, okay.
That's just
well, Dana, you can hear the music, but we want to hear from Jill. We'll go to the break in a minute. One thing I would say is, next time you talk to him, you can say, hey, I talked to New Life today, and they have this incredible intensive for men who've experienced sexual integrity failure. And that's what he's dealing with. He's dealing with the shame. He's dealing with the guilt. but he has nowhere to go with it. And, I would just encourage him to get to Every Man's Battle. You can also have him listen to the Every Man's Battle podcast. That's, another resource to get him. The goal is that he would become free of the guilt and the shame and move forward in, like what you were saying, Jim, whether it's this relationship or the next.
Right.
We're going to be right back in here from Jill after this break.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found Life Recovery, and one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 Steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 Steps' power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. We are talking with Dana, whose son cheated on his wife within the first year of their marriage, and she's just trying to figure out how to best support him. Go ahead, Jill.
Dana.
Hi.
Hi. Dana, do not buy him a TV.
Okay.
I think that is for you and not for him. And I think as a mom, I totally get it. It is so hard to tolerate our kids' pain. To tolerate our pain, or their pain and their hurts and their failings. It is hard as a mom to sit with their failings, and we want to do everything we can. It's like, how can I do something? Like, it's such a powerless position to be in. And so I hear you. You want to just do something. Can I just bring a little light into his life? He doesn't need a big screen TV. He can look on his computer if he wants that kind of distraction. But all you would be doing is providing a distraction. And this boy has a wake-up call here. Okay? Good thing it wasn't a 10-year marriage, right? It's happened early on, and he has some issues. Why would he sabotage his relationship like this? Something's going on with him, and he needs this time. He needs his grief. He needs to feel the full weight of his sin, and so that he can get past it, because we want to learn from our mistakes. Right? It's like when our kids were in kindergarten. And I remember when my kid, bit another kid. Oh, we played it to the hilt. He went to the vice principals. It was like a huge deal because you want them to learn so they don't do it again. And when we come in and make excuses and pamper and coddle them as if he's the victim, he's not going to learn. And that wound is just going to get glossed over. So I mean, I feel bad for him because this is an acting out, and it's a symptom of a deeper issue. It doesn't make your son a horrible person. It makes him a hurting person.
Yeah.
And so
he's hurting.
He's
bad
hurting.
right now.
So he needs a season of going to therapy, getting in a men's group, going, like Becky said, to every man's battle. Let's take this really seriously. It's time to do some major work.
And that's the best gift you can give him. You know, I changed my mind at the break because Jill
because I came on
and
so
Becky
strong.
and I started talking about this, and so I'm now standing by her harder. But that's the best thing you can do as a mom. You can still show love. You know, you can
call him every day.
No, exactly.
How are you doing, son?
And bring
I'm
some
here
cookies.
for
I
you.
mean, you know, do something that you are that safe person, and that's beautiful because when they crash, they go to the safety. At the same time, you don't want to enable him toward dependency on you because he really does need to feel all that. So I moved over to the Jill side at the break.
But you just
I think.
Oh, go ahead.
I think everything you're saying makes so much sense. I feel like I've been that mom who has made him so dependent. I know that he doesn't know how to cook. He doesn't know how to wash dishes. He used to say, I don't want the dishes to touch my hands. And I'd say, okay, I'll do them. And so when he moved into his new place, I said to my husband, I have to go empty those boxes for him. And he said, why? And I said, he doesn't really know how to unpack. He's not going to know where things go.
Dana, remind me how old your son is.
28.
Okay,
Dana.
it's time for him to learn, Dana,
Well-
and he has a good job, so he's smart enough. And if he wants to live with boxes all around because he can't figure out how to unpack them, so be it.
That's right. I was just going to shift. We got to shift the call. Dana, this is not about his affair. That's one aspect of it. This is about you leaving him to be the man that he is. So I'm gonna change your mind, Jim. I don't want you to call him every day, Dana. With this information, right?
Yeah.
It's hard. This is a growing period for both of you, and I would encourage you to get into your own. Well, we're going to send you Jim's book, Doing Life with Your Adult Children, because this is a shift that you have to make, Dana, and we will give you the information for every man's battle for him, and you can pass it along, but this is your own journey as well. Go ahead, Joe.
Well, and one of the mistakes I think we make as moms in trying to be there so much for our kids, and I even look at myself as a single mom because my kids were my main focus, and that is that not everybody in the world is like their mom.
Yeah.
Not everybody.
Shocked.
And I was so shocked when they had to start to learn that.
And that they had their own ideas. It's amazing.
And that they expected girlfriends and boyfriends to be like me. And it's like, no, that's a different role.
Yeah, that's it.
So
well,
true.
Dana, we're glad that you called, and we're glad that you love your son,
Oh,
and we
thank
want to
you.
see him
Thank you.
grow up into the
I
man
have
that
so
God has
much
called
from
him
all
to
of
be.
you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank
We'll send you a copy of Doing Life with Your Adult Children. What a great subtitle. Keep the welcome mat out and your mouth shut. Is that right?
Yes.
We're glad that you called, Dana. And we're going to go back to the calls. We're going to talk with Carol. She's a Club New Life member. Thank you so much, Carol. She's calling us from Dallas and listens on Sirius XM. How can we help you today, Carol?
Hi there. Thank you for your program. I want to know if I need to talk to my sister. She's in her early 70s, and she has been overly dramatic her entire life. And a big episode just happened this past weekend. And I just feel like it's time for me to have a very loving talk, not a confrontational talk with her. I believe, and this is after listening to your show for years, I heard about y'all talking about personality disorders. And so several years ago, I started looking at those, and I thought that the histrionic personality disorder really fits her to a T in several areas. When I talk to her, should I mention anything about histrionic personality disorder? And no, she has not been diagnosed, only by me.
That's a good. Are you a therapist, Carol? That would be my next question.
Well, I'll listen to your show.
So you're kind of a pseudo. Okay.
I'm totally, absolutely not. I am the rock of the family. Our parents are gone. The other sister is gone. I'm the rock of the family. Always have been.
Okay. Well, it's good to have those.
Carol, what's the purpose of this conversation at this point? What are you hoping to accomplish in your conversation with her, regardless of whether you bring up histrionic personality disorder or not?
I need to just set some boundaries with her. I think, would you like to know what happened this past weekend?
Sure.
That could help.
She saw a picture on social media of me with two family members who had come in from out of town. We are very close. The other, and they're not sisters or anything, they're cousins. We are very, very close, the three of us. She is not. She doesn't live, she lives 45 minutes away. And we went out to eat, and one of them took a picture of the three of us, put it on social media, and about 36 hours after it was posted, she saw it and called me screaming, hysterically, crying, furious, on and on and on.
And so that was the impetus where you want to go back into that. All right, Jill?
Let me just tell you. Let me just tell you. That's just the latest.
Yes.
That's just the latest. It's a history.
So I think we have to remember that the boundaries are for you. So what works for you and what doesn't. And so I think that having your sister come up, call you and rage at you like that doesn't sound like that works for you. Because she's feeling left out and not included. I think we can acknowledge another person's feelings, that you could understand how that might be hurtful to feel like you weren't included. But at the same time, there are lots of times in life when we're not included in everything. Right?
Yeah.
So
well, you can hear the music. Yes. Carol, hold on, because we'll come back after this break. And, family relationships, especially long term, it's managing. But what I hear you saying, Carol, that it's become too much. And it's hard to manage when it's become too much.
Well, and I think there is a way of saying things without fully diagnosing someone, because usually that's 100%. Not received very well.
Right, 100%. And it won't get you what you want, because I guarantee she's going to have a reaction to that.
Yes.
We'll be back with more of New Life Live. Carol will give Jim a chance to talk, and we're going to keep taking calls. 1-800-229-3000. We'll be right back after this.
We all face days where life throws us a curveball and our routines or plans get disrupted. Things we wanted to do are forced to take a backseat to the unexpected demands of the day. If you normally listen to New Life Live on a radio station, well, you might not be able to that day. And on these hectic days when you're feeling stressed or frazzled, hearing the sound of counsel given on New Life Live is just what you need to navigate the unexpected things of life.
Every time I'm troubled or I have a problem, I'll cut on New Life, and there's always something that is said that is helpful to me.
By listening, I have learned more than I can ever express about how God wants me to live.
Download the New Life app for the easiest way to listen wherever you are and at a time that's convenient for you, or watch the show on our YouTube channel. You can even subscribe to our podcast from your favorite podcast provider. You never have to miss a day of New Life. Wherever you are, we are. Club New Life changes lives.
You guys came along into my life in 2022, That was a really, really difficult year of my life.
You can help New Life Ministries provide Christ-centered hope and counseling resources to thousands of people by joining Club New Life today.
I began to really process a lot of things that I've needed to for a long time, and y'all were a very big part of that.
When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, you'll make a difference in the lives of individuals and families with godly counsel and connection to help.
I came out of it having never experienced anything like that, and y'all were there.
Join today and help continue the message of hope to a troubled world.
I knew I had to keep going, and I joined Club New Life, and y'all have been the resource that has now been a light for my wife and I.
Go to newlife.com/CNL, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places.
Keep doing what you do because it makes a difference.
newlife.com/CNL. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. I just want to remind you that we have that matching gift campaign going on, so make sure that you participate in that because it helps in so many ways. One of those ways is we have a connection with churches all over the country. We want to help your church become healthier in so many ways. We've heard from pastors as well as congregations that they just struggle in different ways in the mental health, emotional health area, and we've got stuff to help you. So go to newlife.com and click on the church resource page to find out all that information. Right now, we were talking to Carol, and Carol's got a sister who she loves dearly, but she is just like at her wit's end with her. Jill, did you want to continue?
Yeah, I want to continue. So, Carol, first of all, I think regardless of whether we agree with what a person is experiencing or not, I think we can acknowledge that they feel hurt. But I think to also tell your sister, when you get hysterical, I cannot hear your feelings. And we will have to end the conversation. If you'd like to come back later and talk about how you are feeling, I'm happy to talk about it with you. But when you get hysterical, because the histrionics and being very hysterical is a way of trying to control. Now, she is feeling a lot. We were talking at the break. She sounds like one of these people that has real huge issues with abandonment and is very aware of kind of distance and closeness between people and as a way of measuring her value. And that is quite painful for someone, even if it's erroneous in how they are measuring themselves. And so I think it's important, you want to put a lid on these histrionics with her. That would serve you better than telling her your histrionic personality disorder.
Yes, and may I say a couple of more things?
Sure.
First of all, I would never, ever say it like that.
Oh, okay, I'm sure you wouldn't.
I would never do that. But I guess I want to tell you one more thing.
Sure.
The other family member sent her a text and said, it was me who was responsible for this. I invited Carol and, the other person. It had nothing to do, it was not Carol's fault. This was me. And her response was, well, I guess I see where I stand with you. So it's just more that why would anybody want to invite her? And I don't think she doesn't see, and it's not new, girls and boys. It's not new.
This is lifelong.
Right. Jim, what would you add to that?
Well, I think you understand it, and you are the rock of the family, and that's wonderful. And so the rock sometimes gets, thrown at. Other rocks get thrown at. It sounds like you're the one that's getting that. I think you've already said what to do. You give a loving conversation, but loving doesn't mean that you're not, talking about some of the boundaries. So when Jill says, you know what, for you saying something like, this is not working, and we're going to have to end this conversation if you're still talking about it, and I want to come back to you. I mean, she is your sister. But, the only person who can really change on this one is you, and so that means I'd make sure, if I was you, I'd be looking at the boundaries and things like that. And what's hard is you can't take somebody like her all that personally. I mean, when our children, all three of my girls, for some reason, held tantrums, and they did it at the worst places. And it was almost embarrassing. But I would say to my wife, we can't take this personally. That's not about us. It's about them. And so I would have that conversation, not in the heat of the battle. You don't want to do it right after she's unloaded on you.
No.
But let her know what your boundaries are going to be. And then, at the same time, when she sees that you're going to do that, I actually think, she's going to potentially change the way she communicates to you. If she doesn't, that's not, you can't change. You can only change yourself. So that's not the point here. Is for you to make sure that you have some of those healthier boundaries around you, so that you can, take this on. As the rock, I find, and I'm kind of the rock of my family. I call myself the white sheep, and all the rest are black sheep, but I don't say that out loud. And now I've just said it on radio. But one of the things I've learned.
Now they're going to be calling
exactly.
you.
One of the things I've learned is that randomly, sometimes my family members who are more a little bit like your sister, they'll ask me, well, what do you think about? And actually, I have a time to minister to them and have a conversation with them, kind of telling them what I do think, but it's only after they've asked. So I wouldn't, give your diagnosis. But I think you might get that with her sometimes. She may be willing in the moment.
In other words, earn the right to be heard.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
No, that's
But she's also she's holding other people responsible for her value.
Exactly.
Right.
And I think that would be something to explain. Sister, this doesn't draw people to you when you hold them responsible for making you feel okay.
That's good. Yeah.
So something that we also talked about, Carol, and I'm sure you've heard because you've listened to us for long enough, is she may be a vacillator. Mm-hmm. She may have that attachment style. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I haven't researched that one. So
well, we are going to send you a copy of How We Love. And, the reason why I thought maybe she might fall into that camp is because a lot of times when people in their attachment style, the vacillator feels abandonment to a very strong degree on many different things. And just the way that you described how this kind of played out, it was like you all had stabbed her and, convened against her. And that was never the intention, like you said. But it's something for her to become more securely attached. Again, you're not going to help her do that, but I think it might be helpful to have some insight into that direction. But we will send
first.
Go ahead.
Her first marriage failed, and I just know it was because of this kind of drama, the dramatics and everything.
Right.
I mean, just lots of relationships are affected by this, and oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's really tough.
And the How We Love book talks about the attachment styles in a non-pathological way.
Right.
So I think it's helpful.
We are going to send you a copy of that, Carol. You are the rock sister. You're a rock star sister in doing this. It's really hard when we have these conflicts within relationships, whether it's family or our marriages, and it can be overwhelming in the moment to know what to do next. And I think, some of the things that we talked about today is literally holding that space, not trying to rescue, because a lot of times we want to go right in there and make it better for everybody, thinking that that's going to be better for us. But in the long run, we each have our work to do. As we wrap up this show, we're going to have a whole nother hour. We're going to take some calls. We've got some calls lined up. Don't hang up. You can call us at 1-800-229-3000. But Jim, can you just give us a little insight into the power of that connection, even in those difficult times? You mentioned your own family dynamics.
Right. Well, I think it's very possible to not jump into the wrestling match verbally, usually, and still show love. And I think actually by being that rock and being strong and actually being willing to hold the boundaries, I think they actually respect you more. But what we want to do is sometimes jump to try to go fix it. And sometimes we just simply have to let them deal with their issues, but us, not walk away from them, but literally be present in their life, but not on the same level as their level. We tend to sometimes jump into their level. If they're being, all dramatic, then we want to get dramatic to try to fix it. I don't think we do that.
Yeah, you don't have to attend every dramatic performance that you're invited to.
Great line. I'm stealing that one.
Love that, Becky.
We're so grateful that you called and tuned in today, and we're going to answer some more questions. Thank you, Jill. Thank you, Jim, and thank you, listeners, and thank you, callers. We'll be back next time.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Thanks for watching today. We love helping people. I hope you sense that. And we know that there's always hope if you find the right resource. Now, if something we've said to somebody else applies to you, that's fantastic. That's what we're hoping for. But also, if you want to join us directly, you can call 1-800-229-3000 between 1 and 3 Eastern Time, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Those are the best times to get through. And while you're here on YouTube, check out these other videos that we've done to help people see where they could grow or a different path to take. And if you do that, would you give us a thumbs up on the video, and please subscribe to this channel. There are many ways that we can help you outside of the radio program, and it's very hard for some to pick up a phone and dial 1-800-NEW-LIFE. But when you do, we put you in touch with somebody who cares about you, knows all the resources out there, and they're going to find the best for you. There is no reason to struggle alone. I hope to see you tomorrow. Hope you'll invite somebody else to come and join that maybe needs just a little bit of help along the way. I'll see you next time.